Hello and welcome to another video. I hope that you're all very well. Today I'm going to be talking about the rain. What happens if it rains on your driving test? According to the Met Office, here in the UK, we have an average of 106 days of rain each and every single year. With that much rain, there's a good possibility that it will rain on your driving test. When conducting driving tests, the DVSA has a duty of care to the examiners, the pupil taking the driving test, and of course the general public. Now, a good 99% of the time, the DVSA will not cancel tests due to the rain. So, if they don't cancel tests due to the rain, that means, in their opinion, it shouldn't make any difference to the pupils. Whether it's raining or not, in their opinions, the pupil stands an equal chance of passing. However, the fact is that when it rains, the chances of a pupil failing the driving test is vastly increased. It shouldn't be, but it is. And there are simple reasons, very simple steps. There are simple reasons why that the chances are increased, and very simple steps that you can take to ensure that the rain does not lower your chances of passing the driving test. Now, I've just walked into the car a few minutes ago and I've got my jacket on. So let's assume I'm doing a driving test. If you don't normally wear a jacket in your driving lessons, then you shouldn't be wearing one in the driving test. So if it is raining on your test and you walk from the test center to the car, and in the middle of that, the examiner will ask you to read a number plate to check your eyesight. So there's a good possibility that your jacket's going to be wet, your shoes are going to be wet. So the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to take off my jacket so that I can be more comfortable. And this is one of the simple things that you can do so that rain does not increase your chances of failing. The next thing I'm going to do is, after carrying out the cockpit drill, is to get the engine started. Once the engine is running, the first thing I'm going to do is point the vents towards my feet. At the moment, the vent is facing towards my face. So I change the vent to make it face my feet and then put it on full blast. That way there is less possibility of me slipping off the pedals. So as my shoes are wet, the possibility of me slipping off the pedals is greatly increased. So I do need to make sure that my feet are dry. So you can dry your feet by rubbing them onto the mat, and the fan will help dry the pedals. Once my pedals are dry and my feet are dry, I want to change the vent. So this time it's facing the window and my feet. Then I want to change the window setting. Here, press that. So that will demist the front window. If I push the rear window, that will demist the rear window. Make sure that it's on full. You also want to make sure that the vents are near the mirrors, the passenger mirror and the driver's mirror, are open. So you want to make sure that they're in the open position and you can feel the air coming out. That's closed and that's open. You also want to make sure that the vent is not facing towards the inside of the car, that is actually facing towards the mirror. The reason for that is that the air then will drift upwards through these little holes here, and it will go and clean the mirror. The air will go through the holes and into the mirror here, and it'll warm up the back of the mirror, and it'll demist the rain. It's also a good idea to have several clean tissues with you, so that one, just before the driving test, you can open the windows and you can wipe the outside mirror. Secondly, during your reversing, for example, if the examiner asks you to do a parallel park and you've got some clean tissues, if for some reason you cannot see through the mirror properly, you can also give some tissues to the examiner and request that the examiner just wipes the mirror for you. And most examiners will not mind one single bit. The other thing you'll probably need is the wipers. Now, it's most important that you understand how the wipers works, whether it's raining or it's not. Now, on this particular vehicle, you can see that that is on off at the moment, and if I push it one up, that's on mist, which means that it's not going to come on again. So it'll only just come on when and as I need it. So that's on off at the moment. So to have it one step lower, that'll be on intermittent. So if I push it down, it'll come on every 7 or 8 seconds. Now, if I push it down further, that will be on continuous at a low speed, and then higher, and that's on continuous on a high speed. So the wipers are off at the moment. Then the back wipers. It's important that you understand the back wipers. There, the back wipers are here on this particular car. That was an off, and that's on intermittent now. If the wipers do get, if the back window does get dirty for some reason due to spray, then sometimes just putting the wipers on doesn't help. You will need to squirt water on them like so. If the wipers are on, then ideally the headlights should be on. It's not a rule in the UK. In most European countries it is a rule, but here in the UK it's totally advisory, and it is always better, in my opinion, it is better to have the headlights on. By having the headlights on, it will not make it easier for you to see anybody. However, it will make it easier for other people to see you. Now, when you first get into the car's all misted up, and we agreed that we're not going to move off until our shoes are dry, windows are clean, etc., etc. But not all drivers will follow the rules. They will get into the car, move off, even though that they cannot see through their windows clearly. Situations like that, if you haven't got the headlights on, then those drivers may not be able to see you. So having those headlights on makes it easier for other drivers to see you. At the moment on this vehicle, the headlights are on off. Now that's an automatic. That is the smaller lights, the so-called parking lights, and that is the headlights. These are the lights that you actually want, the dipped headlights. Now we've got the symbol here showing that the dipped headlights are on. The thing you've got to remember is that the indicators are also here as well. Okay, so that's the indicators. Now the thing is, when you're indicating, if accidentally you were to push that backwards, the full beam would come on and that would dazzle oncoming drivers. So you make sure that when you put the indicators on, that you be careful, and if during your test you do see the full beam come on, make sure that you switch it off more or less straight away. So I'm going to go for a short drive, and I'm going to give you some more tips as to what you can do so that the rain does not cause you any disadvantages. Now I can see an oncoming vehicle in the distance, especially because he's got his headlights on, or should I say he or she has got his headlights on. So having the headlights on means that I can see other drivers. I can see the drivers with the headlights much earlier than I would normally see. Now this person's only got one headlight working for some reason, the other one's just a side light. Now apparently here it seems like the rain has stopped, but bear in mind that there will still be surface water, in other words puddles, and we need to be very careful. So we've got a puddle here, so firstly I want to make sure that I'm aware of any pedestrians nearby, because it is against the law to splash pedestrians. You'd get 3 points on your driving license and a large fine. So if possible, check the mirrors, slow right down for the puddles. In fact, we've got quite a large puddle here. So if necessary, move over to completely the wrong side of the road if you have to, but avoid the puddle. If you cannot move on the other side of the road due to some reason, let's say there were oncoming vehicles, slow down. If necessary, stop. But what you don't want to do is drive through puddles at a high speed. The other thing that learner drivers fail their driving test on in the rain is getting too close to drivers in front. Now I'm not saying that you have to drive slow. If the road is clear, if the road allows you to drive up the speed limit, then you should still do so. You do not want to drive slower. What you do want to do though is brake earlier, brake lighter than you would normally do, bearing in mind that the stopping distance in the rain is double what it normally is. Now also, when we do see people with headlights on, even though having headlights on makes it easier for us to see them, is headlights cause a reflection in the rainwater, and it makes road markings harder to see. Like here, the road markings are harder to see than in the daytime. In fact, there's a sign here for a roundabout. I can hardly see the roundabout on the floor. So had I not been watching the road signs, I could have easily have just gone over that particular roundabout. One of the issues we've got is that many learner drivers, they avoid driving in the rain. If they've got a driving lesson, they usually end up calling the instructor up and asking if the lesson can be rescheduled. So one of the top tips I can give you is, if you get an opportunity to drive in the rain, take it. If you get an opportunity to drive in the snow with a driving instructor, take it. Unless you practice in those circumstances, then you're not gonna get used to it. By practicing in the rain, you will get used to the reflections. You will get used to keeping a greater distance, double the normal stopping distance. You will also get used to braking earlier, braking lighter, and you'll get used to watching out for standing water, surface water, in other words, puddles. I hope you found this video useful. If so, please give the thumbs up and share with your friends. If you're a subscriber to the channel, thank you. If you're not a subscriber, then please do consider subscribing. Thank you very much for your time. Have a great day. Bye bye.